Estate Agency X, the UK's #1 estate agency podcast discussing the future of estate agency, entrepreneurship and business with hosts Mark Burgess and Rob Brady.
Welcome to this episode of Estate Agency X. On this episode, I'm talking to the legendary Chris Watkin. We get into all sorts of stuff. We talk about why he's been doing the Watkin Sofa Chats for the last 11 years. We talk about the great estate agency scene and what makes up their DNA. And ultimately, we dig into why are you an estate agent and what can you do to make your business better than it is today?
So unless you've lived under a rock, I don't really need to introduce this person to many known in industry as Mr. Watkin. So rather than the background of who you are and what you do, what would you say is what do you do for estate agents at this very moment in time?
The bit that earns me my money is I write them local property market content on their local property market, be that big 1,000-word articles with local stats in a Sunday Times style or small bite-sized stats that they can publish on social media to grab the attention and interest of local homeowners, because local homeowners and local landlords are interested in what's happening in the local property market.
As a former client of yours, I can say, yeah, that you do that. So, and how long has that now taken place for? Because that's
over a decade. It's 11, nearly 12 years now.
Wow, yeah. And what changes have you seen actually in that content side?
The type of content is still the same. Everyone's still obsessed about the property market. The way you portray that content has changed. People are a lot more visual, so you need the big gutsy thought leadership stuff, but you need the more bite-sized stuff as well, and also video as well. And I think people consume content in different ways, and it's important to give them different types of content, because if you like written word, you shouldn't just write written word. Some people like visual, some people like audio, so you give them that. That's why this is a both audio and visual podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. I say that to a lot of our clients, because some of our clients obviously got adopted into video and they put it onto their blog settings, and I say, what's the wording underneath? Because it's just blank at the moment. So if someone doesn't want to watch the video and likes to read, there's nothing really there. So I do get what you're talking about, that part to it. And people have always asked me, they said, would I use Chris in this format? And is it right in saying, I've always said that if they are a Telegraph Times style reader, that they're more suited to your content?
Well, what you've got to look at is, if I can answer that in a different way, you've got to look at the demographic of who your audience is. And my clients tend to want to attract landlords. The demographic of a landlord is middle-aged. I know there are always younger ones, and I know there's ones in their 70s, but middle-aged business people. And they tend to read the Sunday Times and Telegraph. So therefore, if you want to attract landlords to you, then you have to write in the style that they're accustomed to. If we were trying to attract 18-year-olds, then Chris Watkin would be dressed up in a purple suit on roller skates rolling down Pall Mall, because if that's what 18-year-olds do and want, then that's what you provide them. You have to provide content for your demographic audience. I hate that word avatar, but that's your whoever you're aiming for. And my content tends to attract landlords and middle class homeowners in the middle to upper market.
Can we make that roller skating thing happen?
In a morph, dress up like David,
I feel like that would be good content.
It might be interesting. It'd be content, whether it be good or not, I don't know.
I love it. I've got a question then. So, 11 years, pretty much been doing that 11 years, and you spoke about how it's morphed in terms of the way that, obviously, high-speed internet has made a big difference in terms of people consuming video over text and all of that sort of stuff. But do you think that, from what you see with the clients that you've worked with, and then maybe, I don't know, left or came back, or new ones that joined and all of that sort of stuff, like, do you think that of all the clients you do or you've worked with over that period of time, what percentage of it would you say really get what it is that they're trying to do, and what versus they just kind of
Need content.
thought, I don't know, I'm supposed to be doing some content, like Chris does it, like we tick this box.
I don't actually know the answer to that question, mate.
No,
I've always
just
been...
a gut feeling. Like, do you think? What I'm saying is, do you think that there's a danger that a lot of people are ticking a box to go, we're supposed to be doing content, so get this in, as opposed to really understanding why content is important for them?
Okay, I think the important question there is a lot of people say, I need to do social media content, and it's not whether you're doing content or not. It is what is the content and why should it land with your proposed customer, which in terms of an estate or letting agent is homeowners and landlords. If you look at the data, that the Property Academy do a survey of 100,000 homeowners every single year, and it's normally within 1 or 2% of each other. 36-37% of homeowners choose their estate agent based on their agent's local property market knowledge. Yes, there's other stuff like the agent I instinctively trusted and the one that feels that sells houses like mine. But the biggest challenge estate agents have is that there's lots of competition, and how do you stick out like a sore thumb? How do you grab the attention of people and turn that attention into interest and turn that interest into trust? Because people only do business with people they trust. That's no one ever does business with anyone they don't trust. And that's the thing about social media. I am answering the question, but I'm going in a long way around. Is social media is designed to get people to trust you. It is not designed to get you listings. And therefore, we all want listings. That's what we want. We're at point A and we want to get to point B really quickly. And that's the thing about estate agents is we all want it now.
Yeah.
But I think that's human nature. We all want it now. But the shortcut is the long game. If you believe homeowners are obsessed about the value of their own home, and the stats are there to back that up, 157,000 people move each month, be it for rent or sale, but 14 million people go on to Rightmove every month.
Yeah.
So what are the other 13.9 million or 13.85 million doing? They're going because they're looking at the property market. They're looking at what's coming on the market. They're interested. And therefore, if you believe people are interested in the property market, you have to create content for that. And the biggest problem with being a thought leadership and creating content, you can't measure some of this stuff.
Yeah, and that's my point. That's the bit I was getting at. Everything you've just explained, what percentage of agents do you think understand that so they come to you? And what percentage do you think come to you but they don't understand that?
Well, when someone comes to me and says, I'd like to do content, I will do everything in my power to try and put them off.
Yeah, you want them to get it. You want them to understand why they're coming to you, right?
I say to you, if you want business from this in 3 or 4 or 5 months' time, then don't waste your money. Just go and put some £20 notes in a shredder, because you'll get much better value for money by doing that. I say to them, if you're going on this journey, don't expect any business for a year. And when you do get the business, it will be embryonic. You're going to get the business from this in 2, 3, 4 years' time. It's a bit like your life cycle system is that it is the Lamborghini of CRMs when it comes to business generation CRMs. Are there better CRMs out there? I know you're going to disagree with me on this one, but are there better CRMs that do better client accounts and lettings? Of course there are. But I think the CRM is there. Is it just a record system just to collect, like basically a glorified spreadsheet, or is it designed to get you more business? And your life cycle system, and again, I know you're with life cycle, but I am a huge fanboy of it. The thing with life cycle is that it's going to get you the gold in years, not weeks and months.
You're right. I mean, we only put a post up in our group the other week about showing examples of people who have done an instant valuation in 2022, 2021, 2020, and for several months, nothing. And it's only the decision that person's made to move that they're then gone, okay, now I'm out into the next bit of transactional stage. Who am I going to choose? And then they interact with that agent because that agent's been on that journey of research. Don't expect that you're going to, and they're going to open up a newsletter and you're going to convert them into magically wanting to sell or let their house because the timings are incorrect for them. So you see, and I've seen, you see it over and over again. You actually see in the ability to be able to see this is the moment they decided they were going to take that next step, and then content gets more and more consumed, and they get more and more involved within that. So you're right in what you're saying, because I'm hand on heart, when when I was a client of yours, I had someone who I think their dad registered as a student. The student registered. The dad was involved with it naturally, as they do. He was then started to receive the content that we were publishing out. His daughter was at university. She'd been there 2 or 3 years, and about 2 years into the thing, he thought, final year, I want to get her a house. But he'd just come into money, just sold his business, and he said, I want to buy 7 properties based on what you've said, and you're the agent of choice. I've been reading your content each month. But that was 2, 3 years down the line, and it came from the daughter, the dad. You know what I mean? It's like, if you had looked at it just from a student face, you would have thought, what's the point of sending this content out?
Yeah, I'm in a very lucky position that I interview an awful lot of people, and I do that purely for my mental health, because sitting on a kitchen table writing content all the time can be a bit brain numbing. And I'm lucky that I'm involved with such things as Freemasons and other great things in my life. And I get to talk to a lot of people. And I've got one of these weird brains that takes a step back and tries to work out what makes this person tick and why they're good and why they're not good. And I've come to the conclusion, and I might be right and I might be wrong, I don't know, but the most successful people, and I'm going to even say the most successful estate agents, because estate agents are people, I know we sometimes don't think that, but honestly, the most successful estate agents in this world have 3 things. And I like to use the analogy of buildings. I know each great building needs a great foundation, and that is self-awareness. So that's your foundations. What are you good at? What are you bad at? I'm a firm believer that some people say you should get better at what you're not good at. I think you should double down on what you're good at and backfill with other people with what you're bad at. Okay? And I've learnt that lesson many times. I lost my VA a year ago, been trying to muddle through, and I've just taken on a new VA in the last week, and it's like a weight being lifted from my, total. The person that I've taken on is amazing, but what she does is complete opposite to me, but she sorts me out, and it's brilliant. And then 2 big pillars, 2 huge pillars. And I would say everyone watching this is really good at one of those pillars, and that is hard work. You get nothing in this world unless you're prepared to put the hard work in. But there's another pillar, and that pillar is the killer, and that's the one that makes or breaks you, and that is patience. And for every kilo of hard work, you need a kilo of patience, because if you're all hard work and no patience, you won't win. If you're all patient but don't do any hard work, you're not going to win. Now, all good buildings need a roof, but we can come on to that roof in a second. But those are the 2 great foundations and 2 big walls, and the big one is patience, and that's the hard bit. How can you be patiently impatient?
Yeah, I guess what Rob was saying there, and what we were talking about before. When I talk to agents, and obviously we're a technology company, and you're providing services for people for content writing, and so that we're not the same, but it's a similar type of agent that we might be dealing with, who at one end of the scale you've got, let's say, knock on someone's door and see if you can get the listing today. Nothing wrong with it, you can do that sort of thing. And at the other end of the scale, you've got provide people with useful content, and they'll make their own mind up in time that you're an expert and will pay you a good fee for it. And I guess I worry with a lot of agents that I talk to that they're neither one nor the other. It makes sense with the pillar thing that you're talking about, but they've got maybe 18 pillars that they're working on, and they don't understand any of them. They've brought in some content because, I don't know, we're supposed to. We're posting properties on social media because we need some relevance. We're sending out some letters. We're going to knock on some doors. We're going to message people on LinkedIn. We're going to send emails. We're going to we'll reduce our fee, and we'll also charge a high fee if we can get away with it. And there's no particular strategy. They didn't come to maybe you or me because they had a strategy and they've looked into it and they've thought, you know what, this seems like a good way of running the business. Instead, they've just gone, shit, like there must be an answer out here somewhere. Let's do anything.
Well, can I pick up on the word running the business? And I think the big thing here is, and it really is taking it back to page one stuff, is the classic in the business or on the business.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's an awful lot of one woman band estate agents out there who are estate agents in business, when in reality you should be a business person who happens to be an estate or letting agent. And you can say, well, I haven't got time to do that. Well, you have to make time. You know, if you're at the coalface, you can't step back and see where the seam is going.
Yeah.
You used a great analogy before we switched the cameras on, of that you're the captain of the boat, making sure that you don't hit the rocks. You can't be rowing as well. Now, there might be a time, if you're a baby agent, that 4 days a week you have to be rowing.
Yeah.
But 1 day a week,
Someone's got to go to the steering wheel.
Someone has to go up.
So where are we?
Yeah. Oh, I've gone round in a fucking circle.
I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. Is that and I think so easy to say, but it is easy to do. Is rule even half a day a week out.
Yeah.
Don't even go into the office. Switch your mobile phone off. Or, this is a classic one, is this. I suggest this to people when they go on holiday. You know, people won't switch off when they go on holiday. You tell the team, if you need to get hold of me, you ring my wife or husband, right? That soon sorts it out, because only the poo, it's the poo hitting the fan stuff that makes it through the misses. Yeah. So you've still got your phone, you can still check stuff, but those awful phone calls where you think, well, you could have done that yourself, filter in your other half, that works a treat. But yeah, just take a step back. And I think the magic thing is, you know, I'm involved with Agents Together and having mentors, is get yourself a mentor. You can get it through Agents Together. They're free of charge. They're agents that have been there, done it and seen it. But yes, yet there are also people in your sphere of influence. You know, they will have uncles and aunties that are not actual uncle and aunties, but we put them on a pedestal. People love their opinion to be asked. If you know someone in your sphere of influence that is a good business person, ring them up. And the best way to ask for help from someone is never to blow smoke up their arse and then ask for help. You always ask for the help first. Say, Jim, I need your help. I think you're a great person, so you've asked for help first. I need half an hour of your time every 8 weeks. I'll take you to Costa Coffee. You're a great business person. I don't want your money. I just want half an hour of your time every 8 weeks just to sit down with you and just take a step back and give me your opinion on the business. And you do that with 5 or 6 people. You will be flying in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
Because they can, how many times have you just looked from outside the business and just go, well, yeah, well, you should be doing that.
Do you know what was really?
You can do it on your own business, can't you? Like
you
can give great advice and then sometimes think, maybe we should just take some of our own advice.
And even me, you know, myself, is I play the huge long game with my business. Someone says, when are you getting out? I says, well, I'm never going to get out. And I'm playing the long game. But when it comes to stuff like drinking too much and eating too much, well, as you can tell, I'm not very good at that. So none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. But and the thing is this, if you want to change, then you have to decide to change.
Yeah.
Me, I like my beer and I love my food. Yeah. Will I die 10 years younger than someone else? Probably. I'll see you down the pub later.
So how many...
You're into your health, though.
Yeah.
Priorities, though, right? It's just priorities. Like everybody's struggling with some form of addiction in their life. Like, so like, you know, you can, but it's hard to solve all of them. You can only solve some of them.
Yeah.
Probably.
You're still jumping in ice?
Yes, I am. Yeah, this morning, 3 degrees. Days 670, I think it is now.
Good for you, mate.
So how many episodes have you now recorded on the Watkin so far?
2,600.
Wow. And how many do you do actually a month?
So we film on a Monday, and I either have 1 or 2 persons on a Monday.
Yeah.
And normally one interview session will get me 6 to 8 videos.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. But obviously, both of us have been on that so far. So that's
that came about purely by accident. Was that we all know Stephen Brown, Willem to bits, and he was down in Grantham. For some reason, we were at a local hotel. I got my little mobile phone and put it on the table, and we said, let's have a chat. And we just chatted for half an hour, put it out. People went crazy for it. So, you know, we're all human beings. Oh, I like some of that. I'll have a bit of that. So I went and interviewed someone else and then someone else. And now we've created this monster.
And what phone was on that, actually? What phone was it?
That was an
iPhone.
Something. It's the one where I actually sitting on the chair and fell over. I can remember. Yeah, but up until about just before COVID, even in the studio, I was filming on iPhones.
Wow. Yeah.
But now I've invested in some proper cameras. I have to buy my own cameras. Because I don't know if you're aware, but cameras are they have mileage on them.
Right.
Yeah, and they, but yeah.
A bit like an iPhone. As soon as a new one comes out, everyone's mileage clocks and they have to update, don't they?
Well, the mileage on the proper cameras, not. So that's why I was using the iPhone. So I had 3 iPhones. So I was like someone who sold illegal narcotics with burners everywhere.
So from all those episodes you've recorded, what's been your best one?
That's like asking someone who their favourite child is.
Yeah,
that's easy.
Who's the favourite child? Okay, what's been your most insightful?
He's got 2 guests of the podcast here as well, hasn't he?
What's been the most insightful one?
Again, I can't answer that.
Okay,
I can't answer. I do it.
This versus doesn't work.
What's one that springs to mind?
Okay, I'm gonna change it around. Okay, the reason I do it, and I've only realised this in the last few years, is I do it for my own mental health.
Because you like talking to people?
I mean, I don't give a shit about anything I talk about on the sofa.
Yeah.
I really do. The topics are relevant. If I wanted to talk about stuff I was interested in, it would be my wife, corgi dogs, curries, IPA, but the double IPA, the fancy stuff, collecting whiskey, Freemasons, train timetables. Oh,
you should have heard him on the way here.
Oh, do you know? It used to take 2 hours and 20 minutes to get from Grantham to King's Cross on a Deltic, and now it takes 59 minutes on an Azuma.
Mainly because of what?
Well, different patterns and the fact that Deltics are smaller and slower.
That's
to death.
That's quicker than me from Dover, mate. Actually, you Northerners always moan about these trains, and
we are on the East Coast Main Line, but
you get beer on them as well.
Grantham, G-Town. No, to answer your question, what was the question actually?
I've got a slightly different question. You won't answer which one's your favourite, but can I twist it into which episode was you most excited about? Where you thought that is fucking gold, but it didn't really. I don't know. No one paid much attention.
Mate, I can't answer
you
that.
See, no, like this.
You should have just said yours, shouldn't he? You should have said your one.
Okay.
No one watched that one.
So
what? Okay. No.
Yours is the best.
Okay.
No, cut this out.
How about what I wanted to get out of that?
Yours is good. I thought it was good, but no one watched.
What was really no one watched anything.
Hold on a second. Right. Okay. Where a lot of people go wrong with content is they judge it by views and engagement.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And the content, if I want views and I want engagement,
we'll do the roller skating thing.
Okay, we'll do the roller skating thing. You know me. I hate right-move pie charts. Okay, we can possibly find out why I don't like them, but I completely detest them. I think they're awful, disgusting, horrible things on social media. Okay, so if I want likes and comments, I will literally, if I'm bored, I'll throw a right-move pie chart post in just for shits and giggles.
Yeah,
just because it winds people up. Okay, some of the greatest content that's got me business or people have picked the phone up to me has been stuff that's hardly got any likes and any comments.
Yeah.
The stat show, for example, which is a huge undertaking to do that every week. I can rule out 5 hours of my week doing that stat show, researching it, doing the graphs, filming it, editing it, and everything else. That gets 500-800 views, which for a video of mine is not a lot. Yet, and again, this is the thing is, before, if I was just doing sofa chats, I'd get nice feedback from certain sets of people, but those stat shows are getting phone calls and comments from people in the industry that are like up there.
Yeah.
And the magic is, don't judge your content just purely by the vanity metrics of views and engagement. It's the quality as well as the quantity.
You never know who's watching. You never know.
You're right, because the vast majority of people won't comment.
Yeah, you could have one view, but it could be a very important view.
Yeah,
right?
and coming back to this measuring and long game thing, do you give a mark out of 10 for the love of your other half each day?
Yes. No, I'm joking.
But or do you know the day you fell in love with your other half, or do you mark them out of 10 or 100 every day? But you don't. There are certain things in. I was having a wonderful discussion with Kirsty Franks, who is and her interviews are coming out in the new year. Honestly, she's an amazing marketeer, and wow, she's up there at Verona Franks level in terms of wow. I'd certainly recommend you get her on this sofa. She is sublimely amazing. But she believes everything can be measured. But I said, well, of course you're going to say that because you're a marketeer and you've got a marketing team, and certain things have to be measured.
Yeah. Certain
things in life can't be measured. See, what you've got to remember is human beings are split in half, the emotional and the logical side. And logically, that is fact, that is stuff that can be measured. But you've got to remember, human beings are more emotional, and 19 out of 20 decisions that a human makes, the emotional side of the brain says yes first.
Yeah.
And that can't be measured sometimes because it's not logical.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the beauty of if you produce great content that talks to the emotional side of the brain, you've won.
Josh, really good how he's deflected on that question.
Yeah, I can't even remember what the question was.
No. Okay, I'm pulling back into this fight without you staring. I knew you were going to do this. What's been an episode where you were quite unexpected the outcome at the end of it? So you thought it was going to be a standard chat, and you thought, wow, actually at the end of it, I didn't even think that was going to be like that.
I've had some chats. One never actually made the day, where someone was very close to death and had a transplant. It's not common knowledge that this person had a transplant, and we talked about that transplant. And I said, how does it feel that you're living because someone died? I put it in a slightly better way than that. And that's never seen the light of day because the person just basically just broke down because it was the first time that someone actually had, this person's a friend of mine, had actually said it in that way. I've had some quite emotional. I've had a couple of people who have admitted that they were going to commit suicide and what brought them back. I've got another person who've been through health, mega health issues with that awful C word and how they've come through the other side. They're the ones that stick. Yeah. They're the ones that hold a rent-free place in my heart. That and ultimately, it's because they're stories.
Yeah.
And also, they're going from what you said, they're not just estate agents, they're humans. And that pulls back to the human aspect, which is, like you said, on social media and all sorts of stuff, you see the mask that people portray to really what's going on behind their lives and a lot of resilience. And it goes back to what you're saying about hard work, patience, as being some of those pillars. And how do you do that at the same time of doing your agency and stuff?
I mean, that's why I like your marketing at Life Cycle. I'm going to turn this one around because I'm very good at turning it and deflecting back. Is you as a CRM, you've put your customer as the hero, which is absolutely vital in any marketing. Because I believe estate agents are so self-centered and egotistical. They think their estate agency is there to serve them, when in reality we're there to serve the people. If you can put the customer at the front and center of everything that you do, you're already at the top 10% of businesses. But what you then do is if you can make them the hero, then you've already won. Isn't it interesting, Rob, that before we were waiting for the studio, you mentioned, out of those 2,600 videos, you mentioned a video that I had done 10 years ago. And that was because it was a story of an agent who basically, and it was a classic, and again, if anyone wants to Google this, it's called Hero's Journey. And you could interview people, your clients, and all you see, you can't remember that your missus told you to put the dishwasher on, and you didn't, but you can remember a story from 10 years ago, and you can remember your fairy tales and things like that. And it's because it's a story. And you see, if you've got the two sides of the brain, which is the logical side and the emotional, if you can get inside the emotional, you've won. And the best way to get inside the emotional side of a human brain is telling stories. But if you're going to tell stories, you have to be a great storyteller. And the best way to tell a great story is using the hero's journey technique. And the hero's journey technique is once upon a time, step one. So you set the scene. Hi, I was an estate agent, and I set up the estate agent because, and I was talking about the hopes and the dreams. That's section one. So if you watch that video of Darren Cope, it basically sets up, why did you set up an agency? What were your hopes? What were your dreams? And so we're now on the way up where he's flying, he's brilliant. I'm going to set the world on fire, okay? Now we then move on and say, right then, we now move the clock now to 18 months ago. Were your hopes and dreams being hit? No. Shit was hitting the fan. Staff weren't good. The landlords weren't interested. It was the poo was hitting. It was just not very good. So again, think about it. Star Wars sets the scene. He's happy in the desert, and then the poo hits the fan because obviously the bad guys come in, Darth Vader and the stormtroopers. He runs away, and then he's at a crossroads. He doesn't know what to do. So therefore, Obi-Wan Kenobi comes in. And this is the bit is, you have to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, not Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is the hero. You're Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's the guide. And in all great stories, there is always a guide. And that guide is there, is to show the path. You can either carry on to Shitsville, or, this is if you were set, this is what you do. Whether you're subconsciously doing it or not, is you say to them, right, well, you could take on life cycle. Well, again, the problem with life cycles, this, and this. But what you then do is, in these hero's journey videos, is you get that person, in your case, you get the agent to tell the story saying, well, surely you were worried about the fact is by taking on life cycle, it would take 2 years to get your money back. But because that person's already been through that journey, they will then defend their decision, because that's what human beings do. Well, yeah, I was worried about that, but I did this, and this. And weren't you worried that it was expensive? Because it ain't cheap. Yes, it was. But at the end of the day, it's value, not cost. And you get them, the agent, to explain why it's cost effective and not. And then you are the guide asking the questions, they are defending their decisions, and then we're now coming back out, because that's how all good stories, happily ever after. Now we're saying, well, where are you now 2 years later? Well, I'm like a pig in shit. How do you feel? Brilliant. Are you matching your hopes and your dreams that you mentioned at once upon a time? Yeah. And now, by chucking that video out, which might be 20 minutes long, you're telling a story, and someone says, hold on a second, I'm at stage one. I started at stage one like that other agent. I'm in stage two, which is the shit hitting the fan and I don't know what to do. But there's someone that I can relate to, because that's what stories are about. You have to relate to them. And now the person like me is in pigs, absolutely like pigs in, what's the name? Whatever, I don't know. Like pigs at the trough, happy as anything. And all I have to do is follow these two guys here, which is you two.
Do you know what's really interesting? Because I actually talked to some clients about this as part of some of their brand strategy and their marketing strategy.
Yeah.
But I say to them, stop just saying, we've sold this 3-bedroom house. Talk about it. We've sold a house for a family. They've got 2 kids. These were their concerns. This is their worry. This is what they're doing. This is how we supported them. And
Absolutely.
Then if you are, this resonates with you and you're someone similar, get in touch with us today.
Tony Ruby from Grantham.
Yeah.
Took a photograph of him and his family and the other family outside a for sale board, and basically said, this is not just one sold house. This has helped our family, because I've just set up my business. This has helped this family move to move to nearer to their daughter in Droitwich, and this has moved in so they can take their child to the local school. That got 20 shares and in excess of 100, 200 likes. Because you're telling a story.
Yeah. I mean, we do something where we try and teach agents exactly how to do that. My knowledge of it all comes back from like Joseph Campbell's book, like Journey of 1,000 Faces, and all exactly the same as what you're talking about. But I think it all ties back to what I was saying before, that you understand that, and many agents you've met have implemented and understand it. We understand it. We teach agents about it. They then implement something and they see incredible results. why do you feel like the majority of agents could listen to this, hear us say that, and then they may go and say, we need to start telling stories, and that's about it. That's as far as it'll ever go. No more research, no nothing. They'll go on their next valuation and go, I think your house is worth £500,000 and we can do it for this much money. What do you think the blocker is for people when it comes to, I should look into this more, I should figure this out?
It comes back down to Simon Sinek's why, isn't it? We all know what to do. Some of us don't know how to do it, but you've got to want to know why you want to do it. Same with me. I know damn well if I wanted to get rid of this belly, I would have to go without beer, and I'd have to go without a lot of food, and I've got no motivation.
Yeah, but maybe there's an easy way.
It probably is put the fork down and run more.
Maybe. I mean, that sounds like a hard way, but there might be an easy way of switching your brain.
There probably is.
And so what is it that stops that person when they're? I mean, you're saying you're not worried about it, but they're categorically saying,
I must be worried about it in some way because I'm bringing it up now. I'm being honest with you, but the motivation is probably not as strong. Am I waiting for something in my, God forbid, if I had a heart attack, then probably I would have to do something about it.
Yeah. It's like there's this funny story. I think it was in some TV show I was watching the other day where this little boy is saying to his dad, Dad, if you had this big red button on your chest and if you pressed it, you could live forever, would you press it? Dad's like, nah. And he's like, until I was dying, and then I'd press it.
There you go. And it didn't help that I had a medical a couple of years ago and everything was, even though with this was bang on, but it might not be tomorrow. I don't know.
The change, maybe it's the change that got someone's just like, this is what I know, and this is how I manage to get through life.
Until there's a cliff edge or a back against a wall or a rope that's holding you. You're against the ropes. There's something until you have to take that. You have to take that step forward.
But even then, a lot of the time, it's still impossible. I've got an auntie who has every form of cancer you can imagine, and she smokes endlessly, and she still smokes. So even then, that's what makes me feel like this isn't a motivational thing. This isn't motivation. There's something that something has to click.
It's all up here.
So when a thing clicks, suddenly you go, you know what? Something clicked for me, and I looked into like that book that I just mentioned, The Journey of a Thousand Faces, Joseph Campbell, was written in like the 40s. It's a really shit book to read. It's long, it's crap. It's basically telling you that every film story ever made is based on the Bible. It's so boring. But something clicked that made me go, I should probably listen to that. And suddenly you're off on a new path whereby like things are different for you, but it's the bit that makes. And what I'm trying to get to is why there'll be agents listening to this thinking, yeah, that's gold, we should do stories. Oh, that's gold, we should do content. What Chris is saying is brilliant. And that thing about life cycle, we should look into that as well. It's like, how do they get some form of focus? It doesn't matter. Like, we don't care if they come to life cycle. We'd love it. We're running a commercial business. You'd love it if they did content with you, but that's not why we're here. The point that we're getting at is like, how are they going to move from where they are where they need to be?
Well, that's it. They've got, it comes up, can you remember the foundation?
Yeah.
Which is self-awareness. Now, whether you do something about it,
whether you do something about it, whether you just go on the next viewing is up to you, right?
Yeah. I mean,
like your VA lady, I had a similar thing recently. I had this problem that was taking me it was so complicated for me to solve, and eventually I outsourced it. It was solved within about an hour. And it's like that, isn't it? Like, you can go on the next viewing because you're the best at viewings and valuations, or you could just get someone else to do that and actually figure out this thing that you don't want to deal with.
Yeah. Ultimately, it comes down to human beings are selfish. We're in it for ourselves. When we help someone else, we're actually doing it because it makes us feel good about ourselves. We're only here for a short amount of time. You might as well enjoy yourself, help as many people as possible. And, I'd rather go out at 70, enjoy my beer than 80 and not. Well, I don't know, mate.
Yeah. Until you reach that, until something happens where you don't enjoy your beer, you're happy with it, right? So until someone gets to the stage where
I know I need to do something about it, but then that little demon says, "Oh, I just fancy a beer." I'm not an alcoholic, but I just like my beer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I used to like smoking drugs until I one day realised I didn't like smoking drugs, and then it was easy for me to change. But you have to have that point. an estate agent doing what they're doing and thinking an aspirational idea that, well, it'd be great to do that whole story content thing. It's not going to happen by them just bringing in.
Well,
some
it isn't
content,
if you're
is it?
constantly at the coalface. So therefore, self-reflection, self-awareness. Take yourself out and just reflect back. Have a mentor that you can bounce ideas off.
So I think mentoring and coaching and having someone that's an accountability partner.
Who's going to lead you? Who's going to help you on this path?
AA meetings are not that I'm an AA member. I just want to make AA members that it's a collaboration between two people.
Yeah.
Agents together, like it's a collaboration with mentorship. And even I've been a mentor with you guys for quite a few years. I met one guy, came for a call and thought he's going to leave the industry within a year. I know it because the company was shit. It was all but him. And he got to the point where you could see, like, down the line, it was more of him becoming self-aware that actually he didn't want to be an agent anymore. He didn't want to be in sales and definitely didn't want to work for the company that was pointing the finger saying how shit it was. And he thought, and he got to one point in the day, he said, I've had enough.
Yeah, but you're helping. That's the beautiful thing is when you help another human being, it rewards you with some really great drugs in your head.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is you go out there, be happy. And I think that is the ultimate thing in life is it's not money, it's happiness. And just as long as you're happy.
Yeah. And if you're not, then
so I do the sofa chats
right?
because it makes me happy. I get to talk to really interesting people that you might have like, hi, how you doing at the Esters for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You have a quality time. I do it for myself to enjoy their company. I have some great clients.
Yeah.
It's like, you and both of your life cycle ourselves is that we don't go out there and trying to sell our soul or come and use us. I'd rather have 120 clients that want to do business with me than 250 that are just there and
because they're in a contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
I think it's the same with landlords, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to want landlord. It's all about having landlords that you want to do business with.
Yeah, it's interesting actually because we changed some stuff on our website recently whereby I spent some time putting together this thing called the estate agency business journey for exactly that reason. Like, yeah, you could use this software, you could use that software, you could use any software you like. Like, what we're trying to do is you can take this thing, 26 questions, will tell you whereabouts in this journey you are. It's pretty accurate. And then it will tell you how I could help you get somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And like, if that's your thing, then yeah, we could all work together. But like, if that isn't,
don't worry.
Yeah, then like, doesn't matter, does it? Like, go and use whoever you like.
Yeah, if I have someone that leaves me, I don't try and dissuade them. If you're going, you're going.
Yeah, they've got to actually be. That's what I was trying to get to with my very first question is like the percentage of people that they know they're on this journey and they're using you to help them get to where they're trying to go to, as opposed to, I don't know what journey I'm on. I just think I'll do some content.
Yeah.
That's the key, I think.
Comes down to self-awareness.
Yeah. Same with podcasts and everything. Like, you know that you're doing the podcast for your own mental health. That's the journey you're on. And then if it improves your mental health, it's doing what it's supposed to do. And that's why you do it. And it's great. So that's why if you were just doing the podcast, then you'd reach the point of like, what am I here for again?
Especially at 2,600 odd per plus episodes.
Can I finish with the roof of this building?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that
you've got 10 seconds.
The most successful estate agents that I have met, and the ones that I like the most as well, have two things, okay? And those two things actually are outcomes from the two pillars, okay? One is hunger, and the second is humility. And the best people that I see, the best people I put on a pedestal are fucking hungry. They want it, yet they have humility in bucket loads. And if you can get those two things right, you've won life. Yeah. You need the two pillars and you need the foundation. That's the magic.
So we've got foundation,
self-awareness,
we have
hard work,
patience, humility, hunger.
And the roof is humility with hunger, or hunger with humility.
Do that. A little bit of luck.
I think you make your own luck.
Yeah.
And what agent out there would you say that fits this?
I can give you some. I'm happy to give you some names of agents that I feel fit that. Okay, some of these are my clients and some of them are not. Okay, Luke Sinclair, Angie Cooney, Darren and Susan Cope, Ben Madden, Ian Preston, Spencer Lawrence, Vicky Babiris,
That's good.
Michelle Gallagher.
Yeah, you don't have to name them all. I'm sure you've got loads.
There's more there, and apologies if I've not mentioned your name, but these are the ones that just came to the top of my head.
Yeah, no, there's some great agents.
Jim Parker is good as well.
You know, you've only got to spend a little bit of time on social media, and you can find some great people, can't you? In our industry. Yeah.
Adam Mackay got mentioned as well. Bless him.
Okay, so I think we're getting close to the end of the episode. I guess like my main thing is that if somebody's listening to this, I want somebody to listen to it. And whenever I listen to a podcast, even if the podcast is an hour long and maybe even if 45 minutes of it was okay, I always get some piece of gold out of it. We've spoken about the stories and we've put some stuff in there, but like an estate agent sitting in their car right now, they're driving back from a school run, they're listening to this because they're feeling they're just feeling a bit down. Let's imagine they've had their company for 5+ years, but they run on this roller coaster of ups and downs in the cash flow. The market's not great at the moment, so maybe they're on a bit of a downer and they're just thinking to themselves like, what shall I do? What do you think? What's your advice to them?
Work out why you wanted to be an estate agent in the first place. Bottle that up. Take a step away from your business. See what you're good at, what you're not good at. See if you can outsource certain things. Because the biggest challenge quite often is your staff. You can outsource everything apart from the valuation. Outsourcing is really important. Look at the tech you're using. There's a lot of crap tech out there creating solutions to problems that don't exist, but there's some really good tech out there. And then put all that together and come back and try and refine becoming back the estate agent. You'd be amazed the amount of estate agents out there who have they fell into a estate agency. 99% of people that said they wanted to be an estate agent. They went to an interview because they'd done their A-levels and they fell into a estate agency. Then they fell into running a branch, and then they fell into the fact they wanted to run their own business to stick it to the man. And now they're in their 40s and they still don't know why the fucking hell they were an estate agent in the first place. Take a step back. Is this coming out before Christmas or after Christmas?
Post-Christmas.
Post-Christmas. You've got this thing called the weekend. Take a step back. Work out what you love about estate agency. You will be amazed the amount of estate agents who are closing their branches, getting rid of their staff, and becoming one-man bands working for your EXPs of this world. Honestly, I'm talking to lots of people, and they're saying, I'm falling in love back with estate agency.
Yeah. If they want to be an estate agent, or if they figure out that they want to run a business, then run the business.
Yeah, but work out why you're here.
Yeah.
If you know that, then you've won.
Love it.
Perfect. Appreciate your time.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks for asking.
Thanks for listening to this Estate Agency X podcast. Can you make sure that you're actually subscribed to this podcast channel if you liked the content? It helps us massively to get better guests, and it just helps us generally. So you might think you're subscribed, but just have a double check whatever your podcast platform of preference is, that you're actually subscribed, and then that way we can continue to grow the channel and get better and better guests for you.